Preparations underway to host a spectacular 40th anniversary. Konebada Petroleum Park appoints board members after 7 years. And calls for government assistance in frost-affected areas.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
This is Wednesday's news. Good evening and thanks for joining me again. Papua New Guineans may expect to witness the biggest celebrations ever to be hosted in the country during the 40th independence celebrations set to fall on the 16th of September. An official launch was held last night at the National Parliament State Function Room, where the Minister for Sports and National Events, Justin Chichenko, gave a sneak peek into what the National Events Committee have prepared.
The official logo commemorating 40 years of independence was unveiled at the launching, along with a two-day calendar detailing a spectacle of events. On September 15th, a dinner will be hosted for the Prime Minister's Excellence Awards, which recognizes efforts and achievements of ordinary Papua New Guineans in the country. On the 16th of September, the traditional flag-raising ceremony will be held at the Independence Hill at dawn, complemented with an air show by PNG Defence Force Casa planes, Australian fighter jets and Air Niugini.
So it's going to be celebrated throughout our country, and something very, very spectacular as well. This is the first time that it's organised in this manner. And I want to make it very clear to you all, this is all organised through the National Events Office, through my ministry, and worked in with all of you that are here today.
The Independence Spectacular is the main event and will feature a variety of performance acts following the flag-lowering ceremony at the Sir John Guy Stadium, which will be transformed into a concert arena. Lamana Hotel's General Manager Yanis Nicolau, with his experience in the entertainment industry, has been engaged to direct the event with the National Events Council.
Basically, what we're doing for the 16th of September for our 40th independence is our stuff that have not happened before. We want to show things that Papua New Guineans haven't seen before. Apart from the air show that the minister mentioned and the fireworks, we've got a lot of other stuff that will take place on the night. But at this stage, I would like to keep it as a secret. But I am sure this will be the most spectacular show ever.
MTV will provide live and commercial-free telecast of the 6-hour concert from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m, while live sites will be stationed across the city to enable viewing from different locations. The Chinese embassy came on board to sponsor the arrival of 20 acrobats who will perform during the events. To name a few acts, PNG will be celebrating the evening with acrobats, air shows, the biggest ever firework production, the popular Laughing Samoans and an international singing group who will be named shortly. Tickets will be sold to the public and all proceeds will go towards children's hospitals across the nation. Vanessa Knight, National EMTV News.
The Konebada Petroleum Park Authority Board has finally been appointed after 7 years. They are Roha Kevau as chairman, deputy chairman is Ralph Saleb, and Sisia Moria as director. The board has a mammoth task of developing the Konebada Petroleum Park, which has been dormant for years. Minister for Petroleum and Energy Nixon Duban want the park to be put to use immediately.
Not much development has happened to the Konebada Petroleum Park since its establishment in 2008. Lack of leadership was largely to be blamed, as there wasn't a board to take charge of the development plans of the petroleum park. The appointment and swearing in today of the first board members of the Konebada Petroleum Park Authority charts a new course for the future developments of the petroleum park. Minister for Petroleum and Energy, Nixon Dubang, challenged the board members to ensure the petroleum park fulfill its purpose.
A great opportunity not only of the board. There are management issues that were raised in Parliament regarding the past practices of the park. I challenge the board members to look carefully into the management of the park, and so that there are prudent standards of management that must be applied and reflect the values that this government has actually been professing about.
It is estimated to cost 700 million to 1 billion kina to fully develop the petroleum park, while 90 to 100 million kina in annual revenue is expected to be generated over the next 5 years once the petroleum park is fully operational.
Strive to ensure that cheap gas must be brought into the park. It's the only way. Today we are witnessing an additional 25 megawatt upgrade to our power in Mosby because of our MOU signed between PNG government and ExxonMobil in relation to Piniang. Now that 25 megawatts is sitting inside the ExxonMobil plant site. If we had thought out well, it would sit inside the Konebada Petroleum Park. They will put an additional 50 megawatts. Again, it will sit inside ExxonMobil. I'm not proud to say that it's a good thing, but for me, the park is there, it should be utilized. I have no regrets in saying that. This park has to be put to use immediately.
Dubang says the petroleum park holds huge benefits for the people that are yet to be realized. It is hoped that the 200 hectares of petroleum park will be ready to accommodate the second Papua LNG project. Godwin Aki, National EMTV News.
The Integrity of Political Parties and the Candidates Commission has cancelled the registration of 10 political parties. These parties failed to comply with relevant provisions of the organic law on the integrity of political parties and candidates. MTV's Fabian Hakelitz has more.
Cancellation of these 10 political parties was gazetted in the National Gazette number G513/2015 on August 13, 2015. This was the decision of the Integrity of Political Parties and Candidates Commission. According to Chairman Sir Andrew Trowen, the Commission is now getting tougher on political parties for non-compliance, especially with the submission of annual financial returns. It was also noted these parties have just disappeared after the 2012 national elections.
As required by the OLIPEC, all the political parties that are registered must submit their annual returns. Unfortunately, it is only those parties that have MPs that are entitled to this funding.
The current focus for the registry is to strengthen political parties. Registrar of Political Parties Dr. Alphonse Gelu said several initiatives were introduced, like registration laws.
We are the registry we have, but we are hoping that come the end of this year we should have the first reading, the debate on that law on the floor of Parliament.
As part of the compliance process, the Integrity of Political Parties and Candidates Commission has appealed on all political parties with MPs to submit their annual returns for 2015 before qualifying for funding. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Internal conflicts have surfaced at the Modilon General Hospital in Madang after the Chief Executive Officer Christine Gawi was sentenced to jail on Monday for disobeying a court order directing the reinstatement of a nurse she had terminated. Gawi was sentenced to 6 weeks imprisonment at the Bayon Correctional Institution in Madang.
The Modilon General Hospital CEO, Christine Gawi, was sentenced to 6 weeks for contempt of the National Court's orders to reinstate Sister Elizabeth Wukawe, whom she terminated, along with 5 others. Wukawe is the only one of the 6 who were terminated who has filed a lawsuit against the hospital CEO.
Me terminated pas 6 pula oli kamia. All terminated, all rausi mo long peitu. Now only stop safana me one me come back here. PSC rule in my favor. Because so looking more same. You know how to wait long this last suspension, not termination blow me.
Others who were terminated include the ex-director of corporate services, a hospital training coordinator, 2 specialist ICU nurses, a unit manager of the intermediate ward, and Sister Elizabeth Wukawe herself, who's a specialist midwifery nurse.
We appealed to the Public Service Commission. The Public Service Commission came up with a decision that Sister Gawi is not a departmental head. All her actions are unlawful, nullified, and they reinstated Sister Wukawa.
As a result, several health workers told MTV Today the hospital staff are divided into supporters and non-supporters of their CEO. It's affecting the hospital's operations. Attempts to get views of those who feel that the CEO's imprisonment is not just was not successful. However, they too have informed us that the situation among the hospital staff is tense following yesterday's decision by the National Court. This is the second time a Modilan Hospital CEO has been sentenced to jail time after being taken to court by a nursing officer. Rachel Shise, National MTV News, Madang.
We'll give you an update on the weather situation brought on by El Nino and the response from the National Disaster Office. That's coming up after this break. Good to have you back with the news. Papua New Guinea will experience the worst dry season and frost season for the next 4 months. The National Weather Service says this may affect food security and water levels. Director Samuel Maiha said the fear now is if these conditions are prolonged indefinitely.
Heads of the National Weather Service and National Disaster Center confirmed yesterday that the dry season and frost in parts of the country will extend to mid-next year. They say the fear for these weather conditions are now unpredictable, meaning it would have long-term effects on communities in the country.
It's not good news in terms of rainfall and frost over the next 4 months. We will experience more of the same kind of weather that we are experiencing at the moment.
Mr. Meyer says there is great concern of worse effects of more frost in the islands and delays in rainfall.
Advise agricultural communities to shift to things like faster maturing crops, for instance. So there is a risk to food security.
With parts of Morobe and New Britain experiencing drought and frost gripping the Highlands region, NDC Acting Director Martin Moses says disaster preparedness in provinces is below average.
Those who already are feeling the effects out there. And of course, once the team comes back, they'll give us a clearer picture as to the situation on the ground and what other measures have been taken already to help support the airport. And then only then we will submit a budget to the government.
The national government has not indicated any funding as yet. Mr. Moses says a collective approach must be taken as the magnitude of the effects of the drought and frost is huge.
People should not only rely on government. There are ways that our rural community can help sustain themselves too. This is something that we will be driving some more effort on awareness.
A committee has been formed and will meet Chief Secretary Semana Superzerono today for discussions of the current disaster in the country. Jack Lapave Jr., National MTV News.
A farm in Yalimbu Pangia in Southern Highlands Province has been badly affected as 25 hectares of garden crops were destroyed by frost in the span of 2 days. Heavy patches of icefall destroyed potato gardens, taro plots and banana trees worth over 50,000 kina in value. Owner Joe Pillar of Kemboli Village is calling on the provincial disaster officers to the people. The dry weather is also making it easy for fire to spread and burn gardens and homes. We'll take a short break and be back with more local stories. Stay with us. With El Nino predicted to last until May 2016, organizations involved in environmental conservation are pushing for a clear understanding from local communities on the negative impact of climate change. Today, over 600 mangrove seedlings were planted in Manu Manu, a coastal central village, as a proactive measure to address rising sea levels. This exercise was conducted to phase out a United Nations funded conservation union and allow another UN body to spearhead the program in Papua New Guinea.
The environmental damage caused to marine life because of the increase in sea level has become a regional concern for all Pacific countries. In PNG, the Mangrove Rehabilitation for Sustainable Managed Healthy Forest project has been working with coastal villages to plant mangroves to minimize the effects of rising sea level. Manus, New Island and Central are 3 of the 6 provinces that Marsh has assisted local communities to accept and manage this environmental challenge.
Fisher folks use a lot of destructive methods to destroy the habitats of the marine ecosystem. So the main objective is to ensure that these marine ecosystems are protected and conserved.
Today it partnered with the Manu Manu villages, a village of over 15,000 people, badly affected by rising sea levels. This footage shows an estimated 30 meters of land that was eaten up by sea, and it had forced villages to relocate to higher grounds. But land is becoming scarce in this village, and many have resorted to building wooden sea walls as measures to fence the sea out.
Mangroves, it's all about the communities, the livelihood, the coastal, adaptation, the climate change. So, yeah, we hope that a community will take ownership of it.
Now, while the community is initiating measures to prevent the sea destroying their homes, their mangrove forest is under threat of extinction. The planting today signifies a positive approach towards the community's drive to save their mangroves, a mangrove forest that provides them food, building materials, and home to the marine life. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The Catholic Archdiocese of Rabaul announced today that the Catholic Church in East New Britain has continued to dispose of land to its rightful custodians. Rabaul's Catholic Archbishop, Francesco Panfilo, says the Church has given away more than 200 hectares of Church-owned land since year 2000. This follows requests from the Roman Catholic hierarchies in Rome to give away land back to the people who need it. MTV's Edwin Fidelis reports.
Over the last 14 years, the Catholic Archdiocese of Rabaul has disposed nearly 200 hectares of church-owned land back to the landowners. The concept was centered around assisting the people who needed land. The head of Catholic Church in Rabaul, Archbishop Francisco Panfilo, today announced the church interests.
That we need to ask ourselves a question. What kind of world do we want to leave to those who come after us? To the children who are now growing up? I think that this is a very, very important question that especially adults, politicians, church people.
East New Britain is a Catholic-dominated province. Early Catholic missionaries settled in East New Britain in the early 70s, and land was an important factor that the missionaries needed to build the churches and spread the gospel. So the missionaries acquired the land from natives through various means of agreements. Until recently, the church began giving back the land to their rightful custodians. This includes disposing of land, especially of large plantations, help start a housing project for low-income earners on church lands, and be a mediator in land issues.
And I am asking the municipality to take advantage of this offer of the Archdiocese and do something for the people.
Like anywhere else in the country, land remains a major issue of concern for many landowners. The head of Catholic faithfuls in East New Britain says the church wants to make sure that the people are involved with the developments around them, a government's policy. While businesses are poised to expand in Kokopo, more land will be needed for the town's expansion, and it is here that the church wants to partner with the people and the government. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
A new course to improve the delivery of justice services was launched at the Divine Word University in Madang on Monday. The diploma course of Justice Administration is designed to upskill knowledge of people working in the area of justice administration. Speaking at the official launch, Deputy Secretary of the Justice Department, Nicodemus Mosoro, said the training is crucial and significant for justice officers as the course is based on their current work to address challenges they face in the justice system. The diploma course offers a comprehensive program of subjects from justice services, including village courts, land mediation, juvenile justice, crime prevention, and many more. The course is co-funded by the PNG and Australian governments. Present to officiate the launch were heads of law and justice sector agencies, including Teresa Berringen from the PNG Australia Law and Justice Partnership Program. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with more international and local news. Stay tuned. Good to have you back with the news. A new organization has been incorporated into the Jiwaka Provincial Assembly to represent women interests. The Jiwaka and Suminosol Council of Women is less than 3 years old, but has gained momentum and over 16,000 registered members. This organization has replaced the Council of Women, coming on board with a new approach towards service delivery. The Jiwaka Provincial Government has funded 3 new resource centres at a cost of 450,000 kina. MTV's Michelle Amba has the story.
More than 16,000 women of the new Jiwaka province celebrated a new beginning last week with the opening of 3 new resource centres in Jimmy, Minch and Bans, all district capitals of the new province. These resource centres will function as a training centre, an office space and a venue for conducting future meetings. The resource centres were built at the cost of 150,000 kina each, all funding from the Jiwaka provincial government through the women representation in the provincial assembly. Roseanne Kiap is the women representative on the provincial assembly, raising concerns for all women in the province. Since its establishment in 2013, the organization has received a lot of criticism, but with widespread awareness throughout the province, membership has grown and now stands at close to 20,000 women, of which more than 50% are uneducated mothers in the village. Last Thursday, Women in Business founder Janet Sape was invited to officiate at one of the 3 new resource centers in Minch, South Wagi district. Strong supporter of women in the province, Jiwaka Governor Dr. William Tongamp was also part of the program, showing his support. Mrs. Sape encouraged all women to have dreams and visions in life in order to achieve great results.
Like work, namelong man, Mary got unity, I got leadership. Who said he recognized him, Mary? Because nekplomi emblo toklo Mary. Mary am half of the population of Papua New Guinea.
In Bans, the next day, many gathered for the opening of another resource center that will serve the women population in Bans and Nondugul LLGs. The new resource centers will add to the trainings which the women have been receiving in the past, like computer trainings, management trainings, microfinance trainings and life skills trainings. Governor Tongam pledged his government's support for women in the province, announcing funding support towards the operation of the resource centers.
For women leaders, you will spend them up to close to about 1.123 million. All the operations, some money, lo de say by not senior, but 1 million sir. What you approve. So thank you, Samla Planet of
PEC member and women representative Roseanne Kiap said the organization is a provincial council of women body like other council of women bodies in other provinces. It differs in the name ecumenical to encompass the fact that it is made up of women groups from different Christian church denominations united for a common purpose.
Literacy training, all by line, tailoring or cooking or sewing or some or computer or kind of something.
All members of the organization have opened up passbook accounts to save proceeds from small projects in their respective CBOs. Michelle Amba, National MTV News.
Child Fund PNG has launched an historic toll-free hotline to provide essential counselling and support services to survivors of family and sexual violence throughout Papua New Guinea. With rapid advancements in telecommunications connecting now over 90% of the nation, Child Fund PNG hopes that access to mobile phones and a toll-free hotline will give accessibility to counselling on family and sexual violence.
7150800 is the toll-free number to call to receive counseling for family and sexual violence. This was launched today by Child Fund and costed more than 6 million kina funding support from New Zealand Government Aid Program, USAID and Child Fund Australia.
I think other speakers will say this morning, the National Hotline is really important because it adds a key part to the service, care and support system that women and children in Papua New Guinea need. It will provide women and children with a safe way to seek help.
The hotline is called One Talk Counseling Helping Line. The hotline is similar to others being set up by development organizations, except that this hotline is free of charge.
Actually encouraging the referral pathways that we have. We already have referral pathways where we have service providers who are there but the problem is many survivors don't know where the services are. So by ringing the hotline, they're directed where to go.
Secretary for Department for Community Development Anna Solomon said that the hotline is timely considering the policies and laws being passed by government to ensure the protection of women and children.
It's very timely because it's coming at a time where we now have some laws in place that are providing that overarching legal framework for us in the country. We have policies in place, and these are a number of excellent initiatives that will help us get right through to the rural areas. So I commend this excellent initiative, free hotline.
The hotline will be officially open for calls tomorrow at 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. until the 20th of October when the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. call hours will be finalized. Currently, 7 social worker graduates from UPNG have already gone through a 3-month training on ways to address and counsel victims. The hotline is open for both male and female. Adelaide Sirokskari, National EMTV News.
Lagai is a village in the local level government of Menyamya district. It is remote, isolated, and authorities take several days to get to the area when there is a problem. On Sunday, a policeman and health worker were flown by chopper to inspect the corpse of a youth who died 3 days earlier from a suspected murder. This story gives a small glimpse into the difficulties of logistics and manpower faced by rural police commands when carrying out their jobs. EMTV's Bethany Harriman with this report.
Lagai sits between mountains that cut the people off from service delivery. It takes at least 3 days for health workers and policemen to get to this area when there is a problem. With Menyamya's 5-month-old drought hitting the water supply and food crops comes the ever-existing law and order problems. In these pictures, relatives grieving over the body of a man they say was murdered. This visit by authorities, including Menyamya MP Benjamin Phillip, was initially to speak to the Lagai about the impacts of the drought, but they also had to inspect the body. The relatives held the body for 3 days before Menyamya's health extension officer Samson Sakana and a rural police officer flew in and did the inspection. Though proper forensics tests can't be done in these parts, police say the deceased could have been killed by a falling tree. He wasn't murdered. Earlier this year, Morobe's Provincial Police Commander Kaiglo Ambane said the rural command needs more logistic support and more police manpower. Since then, the police department has donated 2 vehicles to the rural command. In terms of police manpower, there is slightly over 200 police personnel working throughout the Morobe province. But in that 200 includes aging officers who aren't active. Now in the Lae metropolitan area, similar conditions, 200 police personnel. Now in the whole of the Morobe province, there's around 400 police men and women policing a population that's slightly over 600,000. The work done by this lone policeman and the health worker in Lagai was crucial because it stopped more bloodshed that could have happened in retaliation, tribal fights. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
Overseas now in Thailand, a bomb explosion has killed 22 people and injured 123 at a popular Hindu shrine in Bangkok on Monday. While no one has claimed ownership of the terror attack, authorities have determined the bombing was deliberate. Investigations have identified a suspect using CCTV who appears to have left a backpack in the area moments before the explosion. Captured on this car dashboard camera is the explosion. The passengers obviously shaken up, but not as near to the blast site as these unsuspecting pedestrians and the tourists who shot this video. Three Chinese, a British national, 2 Hong Kong residents, including 2 Malaysians and a Filipino, are among the dead, according to the BBC. Thailand authorities say it's too early to say who plotted the attack, but they have a good lead in determining the architect. The person you see in the yellow t-shirt on this CCTV footage is alleged to have planted the bomb. Watch how he casually sits on a bench among people completely unaware in this busy Hindu shrine. Less than 5 minutes later, the explosion. While investigations continue, National Police Chief Somyot Pumpang Muang condemned the attack.
This attack aimed to take lives.
Last night, a vigil was held for the lives lost. Thailand's Prime Minister has assured the nation the perpetrator or parties involved will be brought to justice.
The government will work to find those perpetrators and bring justice upon any networks involved as soon as possible.
However, locals in Bangkok say this will have a negative impact on Thailand's economy.
I think this will affect our economy badly. It also affects people's minds badly, both locals and tourists.
Tourism is one of the bright spots in Thailand's economy that continues to underperform more than a year after the military seized power in May 2014. It accounts for 10% of the economy, and the government had expected a record number of visitors this year, following a sharp fall during months of street protests and the coup last year. And now we take a look at the finance news. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.3595 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our Kina was trading at $0.3520 $0.4733 Australian dollars, $0.3155 euro, and 43.38 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed the day lower, while coffee and cocoa closed higher. Palm oil, crude oil and copper all closed the day lower. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 34 points lower, the ASX closed at 64 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 59 points higher as well. You're watching National EMTV News tonight. We'll be back with True Guy Sports. Stay tuned.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome to True Guy Sports. Just 2 days away from game day and the Pukpuks are ready to fight for the 2015 Oceania Cup. Aiming for a win in all their games, the team is aware of strong competition from the Solomon Islands, Tahiti and American Samoa, but remain quietly confident. Coach Sydney Wesley has been impressed with the team's combinations and is adamant the boys will deliver.
Weeks of preparations, the men who will represent Papua New Guinea in the 2015 Oceania Cup are set and ready for game day. With the inclusion of players from in and out of the country, the combinations have picked up and may prove to be dangerous as they embark on a journey to reclaim the cup.
Combinations pretty much has, I'd say, surprised me a bit, the way in a short period of time, and a lot of them coming from the different competitions, how the combinations have unfolded over the last couple of days has been good, and I think there was a good indication on Saturday when we had our last warm-up hit out at Tarama Barracks. It was good. It was good to see that the combinations are there, and I'm confident that the boys will take that into the tournament.
Like any other coach, Sydney Wesley is backing his boys all the way. While 3 wins and an easy entry into the finals will be an impressive achievement for the team, Wesley says he won't take anything away from the visiting countries, as they too have the potential to win the cup.
For the game itself, I think I know the forwards, they lay the platform for your backs, and pretty much they lay the platform for how your game will unfold in the 80 minutes. And yeah, we are aware of the fact that they've come in with big boys, but we've got a couple of big boys as well, and not just that. We'll play to our strength, and that is to move their big boys around. And I'm sure as the game unfolds, getting results will take care of itself.
Wesley believes they have a solid combination, perhaps one which could cause an upset. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
PNG's boxers will attend the Oceania Championships to be held in Canberra, Australia, and the Youth Commonwealth Games in Samoa later this year. They are currently in training at the National Sports Institute in the Eastern Highlands province. 4 boxers will attend the championships, while 2 of them will attend the Youth Commonwealth Games.
PNG captain Tom Boga, who grabbed gold during the Pacific Games, will be accompanied by fellow medalists Henry Uming in the 49 kg division, Charles Keama and Jonathan Keama to the Oceania Championships, while Thaddeus Katua and Beipu Loki will attend the Youth Commonwealth Games. President of PNG Boxing, John Avira, said he is confident that the guys will do well.
Again, Australia and New Zealand has been the power of Oceania region. That it's a mammoth task for us, but we have faith and trust in our boys that they've trained months coming up to the Pacific Games. This is at the stage of our programs.
The Oceania Championships is used as the first stage of the qualifying process to the Rio Olympics. If the boxers succeed, they proceed on to the second qualifying competition, which is the World Championships.
From 49 to 56, we have to win gold medal to qualify to the next stage of the qualification. And from 56 up to the super heavyweight, they either win gold or silver medal to proceed to the next stage, which is the World Championship.
The 3 female boxers, Philo Magaiva, Debbie Kauru and Rafaela Baki, will not be taking part in the Oceania Championships.
This qualifier, there's no qualification for females. There will be another event organized by the Oceania and AIBA for the qualification for female boxers. They haven't actually advised the program yet. They will soon advise us, and we will get our female boxers to train and prepare for the qualifying for the events.
Positive feedback has been received from the general public and the government on the outstanding performance of the boxers at the Pacific Games. They are ranked #1 in the Pacific region and are a threat to them. Their only competition will be New Zealand and Australia. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The success of the national touch football teams at the 2015 Pacific Games demonstrated the potential in a sport that isn't often spoken about, with both the men's and women's teams securing gold ahead of Samoa after a successful campaign at the 2015 Touch Rugby World Cup. We should expect more support for the Blooming Code. NTV's Dion Combang has more on this report.
The gold medal performance at the Pacific Games set the momentum for what is to come next month. The National Touch Championship is scheduled for the 17th to the 19th of September in the East New Britain province. Governor for the West New Britain province has been fast to jump on board the supporters' wagon, already pledging to support 20,000 kina to his provincial side, who may be favourites for this year's championships. Port Moresby will also bring tough competition to the fields, as they too have provided some national reps in the past year. This weekend will see the Port Moresby Touch Finals, whereby a team should be scouted for the championships next month. Dion Kombang, National, EMTV Sports.
Sporting venues have become an issue since the upgrade of infrastructures in the capital city. Most sporting codes have had to play out their competitions at the Murray Barracks and UPNG ovals. AFL is one of the codes heading into the finals in the coming weeks, and talks are underway settling any issues.
AFL remains one of the fastest growing sports in Papua New Guinea, and with an estimated 200,000 participants throughout the country, can be considered one of the biggest as well. The development pathway has proven a success, with an academy and quality development officers who've guaranteed a constant flow of players up to senior and international ranks. An issue, however, remains, and that is one that could jeopardize the future of the code, and that is land. Prior to the Pacific Games and before the takeover by the PNG Sport Foundation, AFL PNG shared both the Amini Park and Coles grounds alongside Cricket PNG. Now, however, they have found themselves excluded from the current land processes and are hoping for a positive outcome when they meet with both cricket officials and the PNG Sport Foundation.
And moving forward, we're hoping that cricket and AFL will come together and work out something moving forward for to share the grounds on both Amini Park and Coles ground as of next year moving forward. Yeah.
Currently, Port Moresby's AFL competition is heading into the finals, beginning with the under-17 this weekend, followed by the seniors in 3 weeks' time. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
Well, that report wraps up our True Guy Sports segment tonight. Stay tuned. We have the weather details coming up after this break.
True Guy Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In southern region, fine weather expected in Moresby, including all other centres. In the Momasa region, mostly fine expected in Lae and Madang, Wewak. Few showers expected in Bunimore. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, fine and windy. Brief showers expected in Kavieng, Kimbe to look forward to a shower or two. And in the Highlands region, all centres to look forward to fine weather, then morning fog. Now, before we go, quickly recapping our main headlines again tonight. Preparations underway to host a spectacular 40th anniversary in the country. Also, Konebada Petroleum Park appoints board members after 7 years and calls for government assistance in frost-affected areas. Well, that's how we wrap up tonight's bulletin. From the entire news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. As always, thanks for your company. You take care and stay happy. Good night.